12 Roses for Love. Sister. Eva was her little sister. She was the screaming mess that took up all their mother's time. She was the quiet, little bundle with a smile that seemed to come fresh from heaven, and when Eva smiled, her older sister loved her more than life. She also hated her. The little one seemed to be able to get away with anything. All Eva had to do was smile, or put her arm around their father's neck, and he was putty in her hands. Why didn't that trick work for Miriam? One reason she couldn't try it on their father was because Eva had already done that and upstaged her. Eva always upstaged Miriam. These flourishes of affection came naturally to her, like a rose unaware of its own beauty or a puppy of its own cuteness. Eva was perpetually stumbling into some trouble or the other. Sometimes it was accidental, and at others her curiosity, sense of adventure, or sheer deliberate disregard for danger. Miriam was always trying to protect her, to pull her back from the edge of the bed or cushion her fall. Mama and Papa had told her that as the older one she was responsible for the younger sister. Gradually, covering up for her became second nature to Miriam. This is what first began to eat away at those early years of untarnished love. Miriam continued to love Eva, and she believed that Eva loved her too, in her own way. This little grub, this mealy grub of irritation, of being responsible for Eva, especially when she refused to listen to her, began to eat away at Miriam's heart. By the time Miriam turned 12 and Eva 8, the mealybug had eaten up the leaf of her heart and grown into a full-fledged moth of jealousy. Miriam began to put emotional distance between her sister and herself. When Eva wanted to play, Miriam had homework to do. When Eva wanted to try and cook something, Miriam wanted to read her book. But she was still covering up for her mischief. When Eva fell out of the tree and broke her arm, Miriam ran out of the house as soon as she heard the thud in the garden. She also stood quietly while Mama yelled at her for not preventing Eva from climbing the tree. "I was reading a book, I didn't notice. I'm sorry, Mama." And she pushed that anger down. And all the fussing and loving that was showered on Eva with her arm in a plaster, Miriam's eyes narrowed into little snake eyes of anger. When Eva turned 12 and Miriam was 16, it became apparent that Eva was going to be the family beauty. Miriam pulled her hair back into a severe ponytail, squared her glasses, and decided she was going to be the brains of the family. She studied harder every night, maxed every test, every exam, and finally she was the star student at school. Mama and Papa were so proud of her. Finally, she was their darling. "And now, Miss Eva," she thought to herself, "how do you feel?" Eva had no mealybug in her heart. She was so excited for Miriam, she told all her friends, "My sister's so clever and works hard too." The next thing Miriam overheard was Eva telling her friends how her sister was the best ever. She said, "One time I climbed a tree, even when she told me not to do it. I fell down and she was the first one there. And even when my mama scolded her, she never said it was my fault." The mealy moth in Miriam's heart fluttered. Its furry wings tickled her throat and she vomited. It was a green slime of jealousy, Miriam retched and retched. A fever followed. No one knew what caused it. No one except Miriam. Now Eva sat near her, fussing over her, putting cool cloths on her forehead to keep the fever down. A week and more sessions of vomiting until all of the mealy moth had been spewed down the toilet. Every night, Eva at her bedside with the cool cloth. The night the fever broke, Miriam got up and put her arms around her sister's neck in a gesture that was vaguely familiar and as natural as a rose. Eva hugged her back really tight. "I love you so much. I was scared you were going to die, and then I wouldn't have the best sister in the world." Miriam held on to her, her tears mingling with her sister's. "I'm the only sister you have." By now, she was crying freely. "I'll never leave you." A new leaf of love had grown in her heart.